So how's everybody doing? How's everybody? Okay, I think we're number 9, right? I believe. I'm so off, but I think we're number 9. LiveStream episode 9, Wolverine, who's what we're going to be talking about. Where are my notes? That's not it. This is the pre-show. And we'll start in about 4 minutes at our scheduled time of 10. Okay. Let's see. What do we got? Boop. Boop. Okay. Our reference. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Woo. We're gonna have a good time. So, is that everything? I think we got everything. All right. Let me save that. So, welcome. This is Artstream episode number 9 for the channel. I think I did everything right, but we'll see in the we'll see after the fact, I guess. But for the standard intro, hello, stellar people, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey, and today we're continuing our larger project. So this is episode number 9, but this is part 2 of a Wolverine art stream. And well, 2 factors have happened in the recent days. The X-Men are in a pretty good spot right now. With the Wolverine, the video game was announced earlier. They showed a shorter trailer before, and I really liked it. And I was like, you know what? I used to draw Wolverine all the time. And so I thought, why not go back to where, I wouldn't say my art started, but, you know, for my fan base, X-Men fan thing started. And I was like, you know what? Since the game's coming out, I'll make an illustration, do it in watercolor of the Wolverine or Wolverine. And so here we are. So just yesterday, there was another short gameplay of the video game Wolverine, and it is brutal and bloody, and it's very interesting. I quite enjoyed it. And another thing is X-Men 97 season 2 is starting, I think, the start of next month. So I'm very looking forward to that. I need to watch all the first season episodes before I start season 2. I'm one of those people where whenever season 2 comes out, I have to refresh my memory by watching season 1. Yeah, it's just how I do things. So I got to watch that before season 2. So as an X-Men fan, I am riding pretty high. Pretty high. So I think, is that all the episode format stuff I want to talk about? So, okay, this is going to be the second of a 3-part. I think I'm also going to do a final selection of this Wolverine illustration process video stream thing. So this is number 2. Last week was the start. We have this one, and then next week will be, I guess, I'll take a break from Wolverine and do some other art stuff. So that, I'm guessing, is the format. To refresh everyone else's of where we are, right? For the newcomers. Hello, my name is Trey, and I'm an artist who likes to draw stuff. That's about it. And so I've been drawing most of my life, And I came up in a great time for art, comic books, there was animation, right? The world was becoming smaller, so you can get your hands on manga and anime, and video games were coming up, right? I remember having an Atari, and those graphics were interesting. It was great at the time, but comparing and contrasting games of the past to games today, and I'm like, my goodness, if if the 12-year-old could see me now and like, look at this, this is it's quite amazing. So, just always in my sketchbook, I've been drawing comic books. X-Men are some of my favorites. Wolverine in particular, because that is pretty much where I started from. I bought my first comic at a B. Dalton's, and I believe, was it this one? Yeah, this is some of the drawings that I've made when I was in college, and that was what, 2004, 5, 6. I'm somewhere in there drawing Wolverine. Before that, when I was about 12, 13, I bought my first X-Men comic. I think it was the one on the left. It was my very first off the rack for $1. And then I bought some more, and then I just kept buying X-Men comics. And that brings us to the Wolverine game, where, right, this is what I'm guessing the box cover will look like. And that's an awesome illustration, right? That's glorious. It's loose, it's sketchy, it's got everything we need. We know who the character is. He's got his signature claws out. This is a sexy image, right? This is a sexy image. So for myself, I'd like to make, maybe not as sexy, but something that I would do my younger self proud. Right? My younger self, I want to make that guy proud. Show him what I've learned. So my process is, I usually start off with loose, and then it gets tighter and tighter until, the final. So this is going to be done in watercolor, right? The final illustration I want in watercolor. But first, we need to start usually with the gesture to a loose sketch or sketch, then to a tighter pencil sketch, which is still rather loose. But since I'm not doing a handoff to any other person, since I'm doing it all myself, I pretty much know where I'm going once I get to this stage. So that's my process in general. So for Wolverine is part of the X-Men, and he is, what would you call him? The brawler, the straight up, I wouldn't call him I guess you could call him a murder machine. Healing factor, bone claws, his bones have been laced with adamantium. All right, so again, my process, I start with notes. I write out just anything I can think of on the character at hand. This is how in general, all my illustrations pretty much start. A short notes brief of what the character is, who the character is, anything of note, just to get ideas out on page. Then I take that to some loose sketches. Right? So this is my first gesture pass, where I'm thinking of, okay, with the character, he's got the signature claws, he's kind of a berserker, hand-to-hand melee, a deadly melee character, and then what that illustration could be. So then, where we are right now, I think last week, I was thinking of, again, some notes on what would make a cool illustration, right? Who is the character beyond what we know the basics of? So I thought of the Primal, right? He is very much animalistic, kind of a berserker. He goes into fits of rage. And I thought of that like animals, right? wolves, lions, bears, anything large that and also dangerous that can be quite pleasant in regular, but has a primal side. Also thought of ancient wrestling as his fighting style, but sumo, MMA, fighters, but I mostly keyed in onto wrestling, since he's a low, shorter person, that he would fight in a more wrestling takedowns, slams, grapples, and then he would deliver killing blows with characters on the ground or near the ground or whatnot. So he has a human stance that is just like human, noble character as Logan, but also a primal stance where his body would tense up. And this is the key image for that. Right. I think this here embodies, it's a very loose, very tiny sketch of what I think of when I think of Wolverine as the primal form. Right? His head would go down and his shoulders would come up, the claws would come out, and then you'd have a problem if he takes this stance right here. So, also looked at various things like animal encounters, violence in nature, how humans encountering bears, lions, and bulls, how they react, because this is a creature that at any moment can put your life in danger. So I looked at some of that. Again, he has a low stance because he's in the comics he's like 5'3", so he's relatively short, stocky, powerful. So he would adopt a low stance and maybe a low to middle stance, with a lot of, again, in wrestling and MMA, grapples, tackles, and takedowns. And so from these little gestures that I did of the character, just random thoughts, random sketches, nothing, I don't really think of myself as I have to have everything planned out, and I only draw when I have, this is the greatest idea. I like to iterate, try different things. A lot of them are not good at all, but then you might hit on one that's like, okay, if he's standing upright, that's all right, but I think of it more as a power, like, again, this hunched shoulders. Like, if he's gonna fight, he's gonna fight. And he fights to win. He doesn't mix, we're not trading hands here. I'm going to kill. Right here. And so once I have about a page, sometimes it can go to 2, sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. I then select the ones that I want by a circle. So you'll notice that some of the images have circles by them, and that means that I have approved. Right, this is the first image I thought, okay, this is a good one. And then other ones are ones that I thought I could work with. Right, so of this whole page, I've only selected a few that I think are worthy to move on to the next phase. So in that next phase, I selected the ones that I have some circles by, especially the ones that have a box around, because those are ones I will work up. And so I believe, was it last week? I think this classic pose right here was what we did last week. So, let's bust those out. So again, we started with this as the just initial idea. And I think this was the very first sketch or gesture doodle. And then do. Oh. I also thought about the difference between different heroes, like Captain America would have broad shoulders, a thinner waist, and he'd be tall, right? This is very like Superman. This is very superhero-ish, right? This is when you think of superhero, your mind kind of goes to this pose, right? Standard classic hero masculine proportions, barrel chest, thin waist, muscles, right? Tall. Well, Wolverine is short and broad. Again, we're thinking of the hero stance and then the primal stance, where his head comes down, shoulders go up, claws come out, and he's ready to fight. Right? Not exactly the hero pose, but I think this is more true to the character. So I try to think of that. Yeah. So once I have that small gesture, I cut out everything else, isolate that. And here we have the faded back version. I blew it up, knock it back, and then I usually draw on top. And then drawing on top, I drew this one very quickly, and then this one, but I think sometimes when you do a small gesture, everything's there, everything's good, and you like it more than the other drawings. Like I like the gesture more than, especially this one. This one I went awry. And sometimes art does that on you, and you're like, okay, should we go back to the drawing board, or can we fix it? Sometimes I go back to the drawing board and work that out, right? Because art is not linear. Sometimes it goes in other directions. So that was the classic pose. And so again, I went to another one, and that was this jumping pose. I like the energy, right? The jump, he's got the claws out, he's gonna land on you. All right, this one and this one are really nice. So I thought I'd work that up. So I did this during the week. Oh, that's not it. Okay, jump claws. So I took the original gesture, isolated it, blew it up, and this is what we have. Right? This is just a blown up gesture. I kept all the dimensions the same, and I like the energy. Right? I like that energy. Now, there are certain things about the pose that I think can be improved, and so usually when I make a copy, I duplicate this layer, slide it on over, and then draw again on top. And here is another. Let's move that over. All right, so this is gesture, what I worked up on. And I try not to mirror things, right? I try not to copy or have similar limbs doing similar things. So for example, if one leg is bent, I like another leg sort of straighter. The arms, I do not like being in these kind of similar positions, right? I think it dulls the illustration, because in illustration, you like silhouettes, clean silhouettes. If I was to darken all of this, would it be a clean silhouette? I'll do a little, let's take that. Again, layer, duplicate layer. K to move it slightly to the side. Right, if in silhouette, this is what we mean. That if we were to darken all of this, let's get that. And we do this in animation as well. A lot of the arts. Similar principles can be applied. And so for character designers and those where something like a character is moving, we like to break down a character for ease to the viewer to see. So, right. This is a cleaner silhouette. We try to get the limbs away from the body so that we can see more of the character in a cleaner silhouette. So that's why sometimes when limbs are like arms crossed, legs crossed, and it's can be a rather, I wouldn't say bland, but a more general pose, sometimes they're harder to read for an audience. So we want something that is bolder, right? More cleaner. So I instead changed one of the arms. I think had to change. I could either have the back one straighter and this one the same, or the back one bent and the arm coming out at you straighter. And I did that here. And then on the side, I do drawings on the side to think about what is my arm positions. So for that claw punch, right? Do I want the arm like this, or do I want the arm like this? And I wouldn't say there are any wrong answers. It depends on how you feel sometimes. What do you think is most interesting for you? Because you're going to have to make the art. And what would make a sexy pose that an audience would stop and look at and go, not bad, before they move on with their day. But I also make small sketches on the side so that I can also multiply them. So layer, duplicate, on this new one I can erase out what I don't want. So for the lasso tool, lasso this arm, and delete it. Take away that. Command D to deselect, and then I select one of the other arms. Command T for the transform, and we're going to move and rotate. All right, that's a tiny baby arm, but we can scale this up. All right. So whatever you got to do to make an image work, just do it. Right? You can photo bash. You can take, okay, I like this small gesture. I like this small gesture. You can, make a new image from those two, cut and splice together. Whatever will make a good image for you. And so that's not bad, right? That's kind of cleaner. So we have that, right? Sometimes I want that flow, and then flow. I like that. That's pretty good. All right, I think, okay, Command D to deselect, right? So we do it from here to here, from this gesture blown up to this. Also, you can see there's phantom legs at the bottom here. I usually don't just make a new image and then draw a different pose or different angles on the limbs. I just draw them all on the same character, and then I select between them. Right? So I'm like, Which one feels the best? This one looks like he's jumping slightly this way. Right, there's a feeling that he's jumping this way. Well, this one feels like he's moving slightly straighter. Right. And this one is just more or less a jump. But again, I like to have different limbs. So I like the straighter version of the leg coming out. But whether it's this one or this one, I still haven't decided yet. Also, I can knock this back. I'm using the kneaded eraser, and I'm using Clip Studio Paint, by the way. So in Clip Studio Paint, I can knock back some of these limbs. And again, I don't ask perfection of myself, especially at this early stage. A lot of my stuff looks terrible on the first maybe 2 passes. Sometimes I gotta find a flow, find the character, put the work in to find it. Sometimes it jumps out fully formed, and that's great. Although I don't take that as my average. Usually I'm like, okay. Sometimes it can be a real struggle. And sometimes it's just in between, right? Not too easy, not too hard, and that's the cool part about art. But let's make a third of this. Okay, so we got this one, layer, duplicate layer. We'll hide the one below it. We'll take off this arm. So again, lasso, delete, Command D to deselect, grab the new arm, Command T to transform, scale that up just a little bit, move it into a rough place. Right, this deltoid. And right, so now I have another image. And I can rotate it if I wish. I think I like the other one better. But okay. Enter, Command D to deselect. All right, that's not bad. But let's take a look. Compare and contrast. This one or this one. All right, this one or this one. This one. This is like being an eye doctor. Is it A or is it B? A or B? which one looks better? A or B? They're both not bad. But I do think A is better. So yeah, I think I like A better. I think there's just more of a better rhythmic flow. But then this is also why if you have a big decision, if you step away, clear your mind for a little bit, do something, anything else, right? Wash dishes, do the laundry, or, put the clothes into the washer, and then come back and look at it. You'll see it with fresher eyes, and sometimes it's easier to make decisions once your eyes and mind have rested. Because I'll probably look at B tomorrow and go, I kind of like this one better. So this is B. Wolvie B. Wolvie A. Yeah, I think A is better. Okay, but let's keep going. There's another one that I did while I was away. Okay, and that was standing claws. Okay, so again, on this page of gestures, this was boxed up. I'm thinking about this one. Anyways, I did this one that we just saw, and this is another one. I like this pose. Fairly simple, but I liked it. I like this one too. Let's get in there. All right, this one is pretty cool. I like that. Also, I like this one. I think this is a oh, X-Men versus Capcom. Did I just bite somebody's tongue? Anyways, it's a gesture, but I like this one. So again, isolate it like so. Right, just a tiny little gesture. Right, when I'm making gestures, I try to go fast and loose. Right, it'll tighten up as you go along, but fast and loose. So that's how I did that. I then blew it up. So a tiny gesture, right? Larger, something I can work with, like reintroduce. Now sometimes I'll knock it back by erasing, right? Knocking that back, or you can use the opacity in a computer program like Clip Studio Paint to knock it back. But I duplicated it, moved it to the side. There were some things in this, like again, I wanted to get the limbs away from the body, right? Because if I blank all this out, as layer duplicate, layer duplicate, and then P for the pen tool, make it a larger size. This is actually the pencil tool, but it's okay. This is just what we're thinking. Right. So the stance is good. The stances I think is all right, because you got that nice wide stance. The problem I think is his limbs one of his limbs come across his body, and sometimes, right, it can look slightly off. Like if this arm is crossed, it changes a silhouette. And I always want things that are easily, you can visualize it, right? So again, that's the silhouette. And I thought, okay, let's move that out. Right? Move those. Move it out. Right? So that it makes a cleaner silhouette. Just get it outside of the body. Now, this doesn't always work, but especially in illustration. If it's going to be an illustration, I like to keep things outside of the body. Hold on. All right. Just a minute. I think somebody got said something in chat. Yo. Okay. I don't really look at the chat sometimes because I'm always involved. But yo, what is it? Jonathan Hernandez art. Okay, so I'm back in it. Okay, so so the silhouette, I like to get things out of the body. So when I copied it, made another duplicate, working on top. And this is just based off of this small, tiny gesture that I just kept going with, right? And I like the gesture more than I like this. But again, I'm trying to keep the limbs outside of the body. Although this isn't bad, it's not too bad. Although also it's a little bit too static, right? His limbs are doing the same thing. Wide stance, arms down. We could do better, right? I think we could do better. For example, if the silhouette, if you want maybe an arm coming up, claws out. Maybe, but again, I think it might be just a little too dull, unless I added another element, right? If the gesture is this, let's go to the pen tool. If this is a gesture, and say there was a figure in the extreme foreground, and they have their hand, and say it's Sabretooth, and Sabretooth has, blood dripping from his hand. Right, and then you see past this silhouette. This is chicken scratch, by the way. This is a lot of times how my stuff starts. But this is extreme foreground. So it's just a shadowy figure. Because I would want an illustration, some drama to it. Right? Maybe there's blood. And that makes more drama. So then we got something in the foreground element that makes you go, okay, what is going on here? I think we just interrupted a fight between two very wild characters. So it then has Wolverine in like this picture, right? The silhouette frames the character. And if we, if this was the border of the page, that would make a pretty good illustration, I think. But by itself, I think I could do better. So, let's see. That was that. I think we're gonna try another one. We'll try another one. So, let's look at what we got. So ones with circles are the ones I looked at and was like, you know what, that's not bad. So which one? Let's take this one. I was gonna go for the initial one. I think I'll try that on mine. Okay, so bring that back. So layer, duplicate layer. Because I always like to keep the originals. Don't get rid of stuff just in case something goes awry. Also Command S to save. So M for the lasso tool in Clip Studio Paint. Select everything else. Alright, very badly. Doesn't matter. And delete. And we shall clean it up. Command D. Erase. Erase. I guess we could have kept it. Anyways. Too late now. We have it on the other level. This is why I'm very indecisive sometimes as an artist. You're like, do I need that? Maybe maybe. Okay, so we have the gesture. We can move that. I always like to keep a semblance of where we came from, in case because I often look at the larger version, and if it doesn't do it for me, I like the like the gesture does, I'll start again. It's like, so that layer duplicate the layer, Command T. Ooh, that's it. I'll fix that later. Let's make this larger. Whoa. Hold down the shift button to lock it so the proportions stay. We just want to change the size. Okay. Jun. Whenever I think of Metal Bones, I think of Terminator. Jun. Okay, so here is the gesture. I like the gesture. What can we do with the gesture? Okay, looking at it, it's not bad. It's in a pretty good shape. I don't want the limbs to be, I think this limb is fine. This one I think I want in a more aggressive stance. So the pen, let's scale this down. And again, we're gonna duplicate. Well, we'll leave it as is. Yeah, I'm doing this rather raw. Okay. Eraser tool. So the other way I usually do some things. Whoa. Too much. Is lightly go over the top of it with a kneaded eraser in Clip Studio Paint. Just to knock the drawing back a bit. And then I'll draw on top. So, P for the pen tool. You can do a pencil. Should we do a pencil? Let's try the pencil. So this is a design pencil. I do a lot of sketching with the design pencil. So this arm, the right arm, I think should be more aggressive. So maybe slightly raised. Right, maybe the fist and the blades coming out. Again, I want them slightly wider. And I'm using the sketch underneath to keep this relatively solid. I should probably think about more the formal structure. The trapezius, slightly bigger. Superheroes have, bigger, broader muscles. But I think he'd be more of a wrestler style with a thick neck, very large trapezius, very large deltoids, and very well developed arm muscles. And he's thick. With 2 C's. Okay. So, we're just blocking in. I'm going relatively quickly. Because again, I'm not sure exactly if you want to keep it. Right? Maybe this leg well, we'll make it, his feet are firmly planted on the ground. I thought about making one raise, but he's not like, I could do that. There's a lot of possibilities, so I'm thinking of possibilities in my head. Okay, so again, this arm is pretty locked. Right, he's got the blades coming out. I really want to get this arm out. Right, I'm keeping it out of the silhouette. I'm keeping it out of the silhouette. Eraser tool. Again, if I'm deciding on limb position, I don't erase all of it. I erase some of it. And usually I know where I'm at in it. Meaning that I can see multiple limbs. That's not a problem for me if I'm drawing it. Now as an inker, or if I was gonna hand this off to somebody, I'd clean it up, make it super clean so that somebody knows, okay, this is where the final lines are. Lock in those final lines. But as a sketch, no. Okay, P for the pencil. P twice for the pencil tool. So he's got his arm, and then the blades. Chin, chin, chin. Maybe like that, or maybe a slightly lower stance. So again, that body. Box for the waist. And his legs, or his, so give him a wide stance. Right? Wide stance. So again, maybe that arm is like this with the blades. Chink, chink, chink. And again, I don't want that mirroring. So maybe if one was closer to the body, and his fist, and then shink, shink, shink. I always like the sound effect of Wolverine, his claws. It's that snicked sound that I can hear it in my head. But drawing, right? When I'm drawing, I sometimes make sound effects for a reason. And I think all artists might be a little bit off, because we peer into the infinite possibilities and we have to choose one, and we're like, no, they're all good. Okay, so something like that. Right. And the problem is, oftentimes there's way too many possibilities. Right? So this one or this one, this one or this one, this one or this one. Right? It's a choice. Infinite possibilities. I can't choose. So yeah, we're just playing fast and loose tonight. By next week, I definitely have to have a some kind of direction to go into. Okay. Also, I figure his head is more of a square, more block-headed. Again, those developed deltoids and trapezius muscles. Do I want the... Well, yeah, we'll do the mask wings, right? Because he could have his... I don't know. We're working it out. We're working it out. Command M for the lasso tool. And let's get this into shape. Command T. Move that up. And enter, or I'm sorry, return. Command D, deselect. And then we'll grab the whole arm. Command T, rotate it just a little bit. Okay. Return, Command D, the P, twice for the pencil. Okay, as a rule of thumb for myself, right? Usually for superhero proportions, wherever the shoulder width, I try to imagine his, right, that latissimus dorsi and his external obliques to be wider, right? So it kind of curves in, but Wolverine, I think, is fairly wide. I'd say he's wider than most. As a body type, right? As a wrestling body type, I figure he's got that stocky build for power. I've often seen Thor drawn a bit thicker also. While people like Captain America have that classic hero body shape. And we're just playing. It's not E for the eraser. All right, we're not making any definitive. We're just playing around, seeing where this goes. It might go somewhere good. It might need a total dressing down. Right. Where you draw and redraw and draw and redraw and draw and redraw things over and over again. And that happens a lot to me, especially when I don't pre-plan or if I'm indecisive, and both can be true. Okay, that fist. All right, now let's stop and compare the original to what we've got, and then the new one to what we've got. Okay. I think I like the original. This is why I always keep it. I don't know, there's something about sometimes, a lot of times really, the energy of the gesture that kind of seizes up and locks and becomes, I don't know, immalleable. Well, I do like this one now. So we're gonna move this guy to the side because there's a new Wolvie in town. Command T, and we'll move you over, and we'll take return, Command D, lasso this guy, and Command T, move it, and scale that up while holding shift so it was locked proportionally. Move that down. Right. I think it's the wider stance. I think I like the wider stance than this right here. Yeah. Again, sometimes the doodle. Let's see if I lock this one up. I probably should. I should have copied it, right? Because I want to keep this. Return, Command D. Let's duplicate this. Layer, duplicate. We have multiple duplications into this. Okay, so now we have a new entrant into this. Okay. I like the arm. I like the right arm. That's pretty good. Maybe we can move this one slightly up. Right? But I like whoa. Double P for the pen, or P for the pencil tool. Double P. Okay. So he's got this little mask thingy. Square of jaw. Thicker of neck. Right. Trapezius. Deltoid. Let's curve that sternum. Pectoralis. He's got a, so he's slightly hunched. Legs. Yeah. Solid. Give it that nice solid stance. All right. Anyways, okay, so let's see. Let's lasso. I'm sorry, M for the lasso. I often get confused with the Photoshop. Different program. Okay, Command T. I'm gonna rotate this just slightly. Again, rotate it just a little bit more. Come out just a bit. All right. Return, Command D. Double P for the pencil tool. So we got the forearm, hand, fist. I'm liking it. But this is usually my process. Well, it's a variation of the process. It can be as chaotic as it has been tonight, although it hasn't been that bad. Sometimes it can be worse, where your indecisiveness, you're like, okay, just pick one, sir. All right, that's not bad. Okay, let's get in there a little bit. And let's try to shape up this face or head. So this is where his hairline's gonna be. Eyeline's gonna, well, eyeline slash eyebrow. Brow ridge, nose, mouth. We'll give it a slight side plane. And, oh crap. We're running out of time. Running out of time? Okay, so. Not too terrible. Not too terrible. Okay. I'll probably enlarge that head. Or I can mess with the proportions. I think his legs might be a little bit too long. Yeah, but we'll keep going. Just anywho, double B. Again, let's M for the marquee. Grab this forearm, and I just want to nudge it away from the body. Command T. Just nudge it. Okay. Return, Command D, P for double P for the pencil tool. Okay. His claws are out. All right. Alright, so it's getting to be about that time to end the stream. Why do these hours go by so fast? Maybe because I'm thinking and drawing. But I think we'll make this one the selection for next week. And we'll try to bring this to somewhere near completion. We'll probably have maybe a tight pencil version. I'm not going to say it's going to be totally there. But that'll be the plan. We'll try to go for some sort of a tight pencil. Now, what kind of costume do I think I want to have? I am partial myself to the yellow and brown. The one he's in the X-Men the most with. The yellow with the blue stripes, that's not bad, but maybe because the first time I saw him, he was rocking that yellow and brown. I think more classically a Wolverine animal type color. But yeah. Anyways, I'm going to hash this out more during the week, and then we'll reconvene next Wednesday, and then I'll show you what I got, maybe some corrections. I'll show you the difference between corrections that I make before we go into trying to get like a tighter pencil version of this. because decisions need to be made. Especially the game is coming out, what, September something? So I want to get done before then. So we're trying to simulate deadlines and whatnot. So that's a good place. Deadlines can be good. It keeps you moving forward. Okay. So anyways, we're going to stop here for tonight. That was good. That was good. So what we have right now, this is what a modified version of this one. Again, the gesture I like. This one, not so much. This one I like. So we'll continue with this guy. Good times. So, let me check if I apologize if I have been. Oh crap! There are people in chat. Sorry. When I get involved, I get involved. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Jonathan Hernandez, Art, nice to see you. T-Banes or T-Bane Studio, hello. And Nathan West. Can you say my name? Nathaniel West? Nathaniel West. That reminds me of what, Nate? Can I call you Nate? Off of Scott Summers and his kid, Cable. Isn't he Nathan? Anywho, I'm sorry, that was rude of me to just hijack your name. Hello, everyone. I guess we're gonna end the stream here, and I will see you. I cannot type today. Everyone. No, that's probably not how you spell it. But yeah, and we'll come back next week and we'll carry on. And it was nice having you. Thanks for being here, and the saga will continue. Whoa. The saga will continue next week. Where are you? There you are. So take it easy, and I will see you again next week. Power to all the creators. Keep shining, and it's been fun. Take care. Bye.